been a day. Let's take the forms off, see how it looks. We have all the permacolumns marked, and this is our first kind of mistake. Not a mistake, but deviation from perfection, which is actually acceptable in this case, and we can compensate for it quite easily later. Let me show you what I mean. The black marker line there is where the top of our grade board will go, and we'll pour our concrete up to that mark. This one is about ½ an inch, it looks like, below the top of the post there. So from the top of the post down to the mark is about ½ inch. Here's the next one. This one is 3/4 of an inch. So a 1/4 inch difference from that one. This one, it's hard to even see the line because it's pretty much at the top of the post there, right? So this one is only 1/8 of an inch below the top. This one's a 1/4 inch. And this one's 5/8 of an inch. All in all, we span from 1/8 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch. How we can compensate for this is just by changing the height of the wooden posts that go up to the trusses. So we'll cut those posts at slightly different lengths so that they all meet the truss at the exact same height up top. Wood's a hell of a lot easier to work with and get accurate than concrete. So I'm happy with a 5/8 difference, 3/4 minus 1/8. Yep. You know, I'm happy with that. That's not bad for concrete work. Oddly, we nailed it on the first row, but this row's the concrete didn't play quite as well. So this is where we're going to call it quits for the night. We're both tired. The bugs have been bugging us all day. Not biters, but gnats and some pesky black flies. And the sun's been beating on us. Granted, it's May sun, but we're just not used to it. So we're gonna call it quits. Today we're squaring up the second row of permacolumns and attaching the batter board. Robert's making the first cut. We're finishing the grade board here. Because this is sealing the building, we're actually going to caulk behind the grade board between it and the column. There won't be any other way to really seal between them. I guess in a house you'd have some pink foam that you'd put between the sill plate and the foundation. But here we'll just caulk it. Hopefully that works. We're building a heated pole barn. It's going to be a workshop more so than a barn. Our heat is hopefully going to be radiant floor through the slab. And as such, we want to really take time to insulate the building envelope. And that includes around the foundation. To that end, we're adding 1.5" R75 rigid foam all around the foundation at the heated portion of the barn. This should prevent any frost heave that could potentially occur under the barn. The frost line here is 42 inches and we're just throwing 48-inch sheets up, mostly because why bother cutting it just to salvage an extra few inches. We're not really taking a massive amount of effort to install it. We're gluing it to the posts and using duct tape, basically, to hold it temporarily to the grade board. Once we backfill, everything should be held nicely in place, and we're going to be pouring concrete over the top of this anyway. So the combination of the backfill and the concrete should hold these insulation boards pretty well in place. We are screwing them to the columns using a couple little fasteners, but you know, it's all pretty temporary until we backfill. This stuff should hold up underground forever, or close to forever, and it should maintain most of its R value. We plan to insulate under the slab itself, again with rigid foam. So I'm not worried about the slab leaking heat into the ground. It's really more about the frost heave in this case. These small plastic washers are pretty nice. They've got a couple pins on them so you can just stick them into the insulation like that. And then once screwed in, they tighten up nice and flat and hold things really, really stably. I think they're called Rodinger Thermal Grip. Nice little guy if you're doing rigid foam, and I think they make them for rock wool and other things as well. Pretty cool product. Today turned out pretty well. We had a few distractions, personal stuff going on, family, appointments, but we still managed to finish off the entire row of insulation, so you can see what it looks like. We're hunting for evidence of a bad dog. I think I see it already. Yup, that was a whole bag of treats. Note to self, top of the toolbox is no longer safe. Oh well. This looks buried enough. The center three aren't going to budge, and we still need access to these outer ones to connect the insulation around to the next set of columns. So we'll finish up by recutting and attaching this grade board and the connecting grade boards. It's not pretty, but it should work. Especially after we caulk the ever-living crap out of it. Should be absolutely fine. We have a bevel on the other end that we have to make as well, so we'll do that. All right, the porch is done. All grade boards installed, all columns installed, and insulation on the heated portion wall. We have 2 columns here and here before we get to another row of 5 here and another row of 5 here. A lot of it is managing where to put the sand while still giving us access to the hole to lower in the permacolumns, etc. So it's just logistics. Honestly, we probably should have just cleared a lot of the sand out and put a pile elsewhere. It would have made it a lot easier, and we might have been able to do everything at once rather than piecemeal like this. But it is what it is. This is what we chose. And with that, I think we're gonna call it quits for the day. Robert's putting stuff away. Rhodey could use a walk, and I could use a nap. And with that, bye.